Cool. All right. Well, welcome everybody to Real-Time Packet Analysis with Tonic. Really happy to have all of you here. We've got some fun stuff to do today, and I'm really excited about this. I've been looking forward to doing a webinar about Tonic for a long time. So if you're not familiar with Tonic, I'm going to get you up to speed really quick, but we just released this. How many weeks ago was WLPC that we did the beta? Like what? Only a couple months, and then we released it 7 weeks ago. Ryan can correct me in the chat. I can't remember, but it's new. This is brand new. It hasn't been on the market for super long now, but we're really excited about it and excited about where things are going. So real quick, I'll introduce myself, and then I'll let Casey introduce himself, and then Chet, I'll let you introduce yourself as well. My name is Joel. I'm the product manager / product owner here at MetaGeek. I'm CWNE number 233, and you can find me at potato_fi on Twitter if you want to do that. Casey, do you want to say hey really quick?
Hey everyone, I'm the customer experience specialist here at MetaGeek, and excited to see what you guys have planned for this webinar.
Casey is the glue that holds MetaGeek together. So yeah, Kjetil, you want to say hey really quick?
Yeah, my name is Kjetil. That's how we pronounce it in Norwegian, like Kjetil. I'm a Tonic power user, and you have put that I'm a CWNE 480. I would like to go for 486 because of Intel Pentium 486. Yeah. You can reach me at Mr. Tiegen on Twitter.
Nice. Yeah, I hope you get number 486. I bet a bunch of people are going to be going after that one. So 233 is significant to me because my very first computer that I could call my very own, like, as a 13-year-old or whatever, I got on eBay and, said that I was 18, even though I definitely wasn't. And I bought a 233 megahertz Pentium 1 MMX. So I was pretty stoked to get 233. It was total accident, but yeah.
I feel really old when my first one was a 486 DX.
Nice,
66.
nice. I did have a 486 for a while. So yeah, definitely did. So cool. Quick agenda so that we all know what's coming up. So maybe a couple housekeeping items really quick. Definitely feel free to blow up the chat. You can open up the chat and chat with everybody else. Just be sure to click on the just the to field, change it to everyone. If you just send it to the panelists and attendees, then not everybody gets to see it. So definitely make sure that that you're sending it to everybody. See, Lawrence has got it, Atari 800. So fantastic. Actually, no, Lawrence, you sent it to hosts and panelists. Change it to everybody. Get to everybody. Everybody needs to know that you started with an Atari 800. So do that. Also, if you have any questions, there is a Q&A tool. So please feel free to use that. Also, you can upvote other people's questions in there. So definitely take advantage of that. Q&A tool is better for questions. The chat is better for just random stuff about like what your first computer was. So yeah, feel free to take advantage of those. Also, this is being recorded. We will post this to YouTube within a couple of days. So if you have to jump off or you want to share it with somebody else, we will post it. So, and then as far as what we're actually going to do, I'm going to talk about what MetaGeek Enterprise Suite is for just a couple of moments, talk through a couple of features, and then I'll click around Tonic for like 2 or 3 minutes. I just want to give you a really quick overview of what Tonic is. And then we'll hand it over to Kjetil to kind of dive into the use cases and things like that. Kjetil, I have no idea what you're actually going to talk about. So I hope it's good. Is it going to be good? It's probably going to be good, right?
Yeah. So as long as you don't call it Kjetil, it's like it's Kjetil.
Kjetil. Okay, cool. Yeah. I'm trying. Oh man, it's a tough one for me. Silly Americans, we can't pronounce anything. Hey, Peter McKenzie's here. Hey, Peter. See, there's a name I can pronounce. So cool. Okay. So real quick, I want to give you a quick overview of kind of what MetaGeek Enterprise Suite is. So this is a bundle of MetaGeek tools. Basically, it's a subscription. We charge like $500 per user per year. So we try to keep it nice and affordable. It includes Tonic, Channelizer, and IPA. And kind of one of the reasons why we positioned it like this is that Tonic borrows a bunch of features from Channelizer and IPA, and it's currently a little bit code dependent on Channelizer and IPA as well. So like, for example, Tonic is really fast and light, and it's focused on live troubleshooting. It's not quite as strong yet for the like post capture analysis and things like that. So if you want to do in-depth post capture analysis, well, it might be a good idea to create your PCAP files in Tonic. That's my favorite way to capture things now. And then go open those up in IPA where you can do the in-depth post capture analysis. Channelizer is still the powerhouse for Spectrum. So if you want to do in-depth Spectrum, you want to record things, you want to play them back, Channelizer is the way to go. So you can see how they all kind of work together right now. But there's a few things we're going to keep kind of pulling some things from Channelizer, from IPA. We've got some ideas for IPA. We've got some ideas for Channelizer, but we're going to keep them all kind of working together for now. But Tonic's kind of taking the lead as the fast and light live troubleshooting sort of tool. So real quick, I'm just going to run you through some of my favorite features in it really fast. I'm going to try to not spend a ton of time on this. But I want to talk about like WYSIWYG packet capture, what we're doing for adapter management and things like that. I'm not even going to hit all these bullet points, but I just wanted you to see there's a bunch of stuff in here that we're really, really proud of. The stuff I want to show you very quickly, though, first being WYSIWYG packet capture. So one thing that we're doing is when you drill all the way down to a client and access point, we're actually showing you what you've captured while it's happening. So you see like, oh, there was a disassociation that just showed up. And then if it authenticates, you'll see, oh, there's the 4-way handshake that just showed up. So you can actually see what's happening in real time. It's difficult for me to go back to the old way of doing packet capture after seeing what I'm capturing while I'm capturing it. The next thing that we introduced that I'm really excited about is multi-layer channel usage. So basically, we're showing you layer 1 spectrum utilization, and we're showing you layer 2 airtime usage. That's something we pioneered in IPA. We're showing you those at the same time, side by side. Now, to get the layer 1 stuff, you have to plug in a WiSpy DBX. Totally optional. If you don't plug in a DBX, you just don't get that info. Completely works beyond that. But you get those two things side by side, which I think is really, really convenient. And here is what it looks like. So in the channels view, I'll show this to you, but see, there's our spectrum utilization. There's our airtime usage. They're never, ever going to match up perfectly, but it's just nice to have those two separate perspectives for what's going on. So I'll show you that here in just a little bit. We kind of jump into some stuff. And one thing I'm really interested in adding in the future, maybe you guys can tell me what you think. I'm going to look at my studio audience here and see, what would you guys think of having the QBSS load IE in there as well? Like if you're viewing an object, you get spectrum utilization, you get airtime usage, you also get a QBSS load IE. Would that be interesting at all to know like what that channel looks like from the AP's perspective?
Peter said
Dan's giving me
yes,
a
so I'm
thumbs
going to
up.
go with him.
Oh yeah, Peter. Okay. Yep. Josh, Jason,
Yeah.
everybody's saying yes. Okay, cool. I don't know what layer to put that on because like, what is it? Well, I think it's whatever the vendor decides to do. So yeah, but it's just nice to have additional measurements. So I think we'll get that in pretty soon. We mostly just need to create some graphs and stuff like that, but I'm excited about that. Last thing that I'll talk about before I kind of jump in and show you around Tonic really quick is the automatic event detection. So I don't know about all of you, but one thing I've spent a lot of time doing is digging around in IPA and Wireshark, trying to find when an event happened. When did the client roam? When was the association? When were there any neighbor reports? I'm always digging around in there looking for things like that. So what we decided to do with Tonic is just detect it for you. If we see a client associate, then we just say, oh, look at that, it just associated, and then there we go, there's the handshake that should have happened, and oh look, it did a neighbor report. So these are the events that we have in Tonic right now. We want to get a bunch more events added soon. If you have a specific event type that you'd be very interested in getting into Tonic, send me a PCAP, tell me what's important in there, and we can look into adding that event to Tonic. So we could just look and just grab things and throw them in there. So okay, this is actually the last one. I thought the last one was the last one, but this is the last one. The next thing that I'm really excited about is packet flow. So where this comes from is late one night, I was looking at Wireshark and I was trying to bounce back and forth between transmitter, receiver, the source and destination. I'm trying to follow this MAC address back and forth. So this device said this to this device, and then this said this. And I'm like, what are we doing? Why don't we do what literally every Wi-Fi instructor does ever and just draw you a diagram of what's happening? Now, I thought this was a huge original idea to put this in a tool. Turns out Wireshark does it for TCP IP. It doesn't do it for Wi-Fi though, just TCP IP. But what we have here is that this side is the access point. So you can see it at 6 megabits per second, the AP transmitted a frame over here to the client. Then the client replied with an acknowledgement and so on and so forth. So this is I think this is one of the best things about Tonic is it hugely, hugely simplifies how you look at packets. So I thought that was the last one. It wasn't the last one. It was almost the last one. Another thing that we did is we kept the coloring scheme from IPA, but we updated it. We have a UX and user interface designer now, and he helped me define a color palette. And we went in and picked out awesome new colors for all the different frame types, but they are the same basic colors from IPA. So purple is management frames, orange are control frames, and blue are data frames. So you can expect it to be very consistent throughout Tonic. We always stick with that scheme when we're looking at those different types of traffic. So, okay, real fast, I'm just going to spend about 3 minutes here, and I'm just going to run you through just some of the high level things that Tonic does before I hand it over. But first off, this view up here is called the networks table. This is just a list of all the networks that we can see. It's really tempting to look at this and think that it's a Wi-Fi scanner, but I can assure you we're doing zero Wi-Fi scanning here. Instead, what we're doing is we're doing full packet capture. So if you look up here in the corner, you can see these 3 indicators. These are my 3 Wi-Fi adapters that I'm using to perform the capture, and you can see which channels they're on. So they're currently all working together to look at all of the different channels. You can see that the green and the purple adapter are down here in the 5 gigahertz band. You can see I'm looking around there, whereas adapter number 1 is focusing up on the 2.4 gigahertz band. Now, when you click something like, let's look at Joel's enterprise network. When we click on that, notice that now the primary adapter is only looking at channels 40 and 157, because that's the 2 channels that my 3 access points are on. And then the third adapter is keeping an eye on everything else to see if any new APs appear, or to see if any clients have moved around to different APs or things like that. So you can see how we're intelligently managing what those adapters are doing. From here, we can drill down into a specific BSSID. Here's my 3 clients that are here. You can see here's my airtime usage, here's the total airtime used on the channel, and here's my spectrum utilization. And you can see my MacBook Pro is doing a bunch of stuff. And we also give you a multi-layer pie chart, just like you're familiar with in IPA. So you can see there's my MacBook, some control frames, some data frames, and then there's some broadcast. And of course, it's all management overhead. From here, we can drill down to a specific client. And now you can see what we're capturing while we capture it. So if I unlock my phone, notice it gets really busy here. We start seeing things move back and forth. Let's do one of my favorite little tricks is let's just turn off Wi-Fi. So notice now we got a disassociation event up here. So there's where it disassociated and the AP acknowledged it, and it's done. So let's turn Wi-Fi back on and watch up here what happens. So what you'll see right here is we should catch, there's the probe request. So here's where it probed. Here's the association request and response. Here's the 4-way handshake. And then here's the neighbor report that my phone did. And we can see all the frames that we just captured. Now, what if you want to get this out and get this into another tool? If you want to get this little event out right here, let's just say we want this security handshake. I can hit this, hit send to Wireshark, and we just take those 50 frames or so and send them over to Wireshark. And so you can do deeper analysis on those in Wireshark if you want. And oh, there's a new version of Wireshark. And if you're like Peter McKenzie, you can even send it to OmniPeak if you want to do that. You can also get a 10-minute packet buffer out. You can hit File, Save PCAP, or just send PCAP to. Again, we take all the packets that we captured, any channel, anybody doing anything, we send it over to Wireshark or save it as a PCAP or whatever you want. So, all right, Kjetil, I think I'm done. I think it's all you. So I'm going to stop sharing.
I was almost disconnected myself. I messed something up. So I jumped from 6 to 5 gigahertz just a few minutes ago because I changed something. I forgot to have the multi-B SSID. If I change something in one SSID, it happens to all of them.
Nice.
Yeah, so now I'm on 5. So let's see how that happens. So I can share my screen now. So I'm just going to show a little bit about Tonic, how I've used it at let's see. Now the screen I'm sharing now is my iPad Pro screen because I have Tonic running on it. But I need to shove in the adapters first. Let's see there.
We got to see the flying envelopes. So nice work.
2 and 3. Let's see if all of them comes, or else I'm going to complain to Joel there.
And I'm going to complain to Ryan.
So yeah, so I've created a little bit too many SSIDs just to test a little bit. The open roaming, I saw someone asking if you have the AN, what is it called again? The passpoint hotspot. It's not there yet, so I would like to have that. And a negative 11 dBm is really strong signal here. So one of the things that I use this tool for, often I had it for many months. I traveled to like grocery stores to test roaming analysis. I tested it once where like 80 or 90 Zebra PDAs was connected to the same AP, and Tonic, the name before it, broke, but it doesn't do that anymore. And then also about troubleshooting open roaming, because that didn't always work. Took a few months before some bugs was resolved, at least for me. I don't know how anybody else have experience with open roaming. But when you install open roaming on the application on the app, and it doesn't work, you don't even see the phone trying to connect. You don't see anything. You just is looking for SSIDs. You're just looking for something. You don't see anything on your phone. You're just silent. And then by using this tool, I can just go into the AP that I want to look at, and then I can try it now just by, now I'm just going to forget every network, and then wait and see if somebody connects to the open roaming, hopefully this one. And also the weird thing is just one client, but we get 5 MAC addresses every single time you connect and disconnect. So if anybody have the answer for that, if I connect again, you get 5 more. So
it's not a bug though, right?
No, it's not a bug. It's not a bug.
It's not MetaGeek stuff.
No, it comes every time you disconnect and connect, you get 5 more. You don't get. I don't think we need to drill down in that. But the cool thing is that you can. You have this is unknown here, but you send this to Wireshark and you can see exactly what it is. I think we probably have some open roaming experts here that probably knows what it is. But still,
and those action frames, 1.2 will fix that, the unknown thing. So it's coming.
All the unknown.
Yeah, I believe so. I think Ryan put a ticket in there. I think Ryan put a ticket in there to fix all the unknown frames, and so they're all action frames.
These are pretty interesting. And also, I'm not a Mac user, but usually when I connected it, it just takes a couple of minutes. Then my iPad and the other iPad suddenly connects to open roaming. I didn't ask them to do it. But here, we get, of course, the security handshake, but see something wrong here. It's ePTLS. We want to see ePTLS, right? But if you take it here, for example, and do the packet flow, send to Wireshark, and then, did I use the wrong profile? Sorry. Oh, I don't have it installed on this computer. Now I feel really bad.
That's okay.
But still, good with success, right? So I had 2 months with failures. So I didn't know what happened. Suddenly a new update for the iPhone, and then it just suddenly started working. So I used IP. I had Tonic, open up every single day, like constantly, every time to figure out what happened. And
why?
Yeah.
So what's the main what's the main thing for running Tonic? Is it mostly that? Is it just your favorite capture tool at this point, or what is it about it specifically?
Oh, it was easy. I'm sitting here working, right? So I used it also when I'm doing like wireless work at customers, right? But I also wanted to implement open roaming and see how it works. I have it at home. I have sitting here with my phone sitting next to me, and I had it open, Tonic in one window, and then you can see it suddenly just disconnects, and then you can see in the packet events that it just loops. It loops constantly, and it starts like maybe 5 or 10 times suddenly. But having the phone right next to me, it just suddenly disconnected. And then having to troubleshoot that, then I maybe like to reset the hotspot Spaces VM and just try to troubleshoot it. And so it was a great tool also that I was able, when it happened, I was able to capture the event and just save it to Wireshark. And then I can start working on other things that work. So I just have that in the background all the time. And also really like it to have been to many different warehouses. I want to get all the association requests and response. I want to get a 4-way handshake. I can do that with Wireshark. I can do that with IPA, but with IPA, you're like blind. You just see 200,000 packets. Okay, great. Hopefully I got it or not. So that was I think that was the main complaint when Joel contacted me on Slack once, because I was just blind. I wanted to see if I captured something, because usually I had like a few hours at the site, and they want me to do this, and this, and this. And it's like a plane ride. So I just want to capture everything I need so I can look at it later and have everything. So with Tonic, I know I captured it. I know I got the event, and then I can just send that to Wireshark. So also one last thing that I know Joel is working on, to get the full roam, to try at least to find, so you get the full roam, because we also need to use IP for that one sometimes, because I want to know how long it took from one AP to another AP to see if something wrong somewhere else.
Right. And can we talk about that for just a moment?
Yeah.
Do you have a roaming event anywhere, or even just an event? I think even just your association, I think.
Maybe the neighbor. Maybe
either one. I don't think. Yeah, why don't we chase down the neighbor?
This is airtight, so just mesh. They're talking to each other all the time.
It's not really a roam. It's a fake roam.
No.
We're misinterpreting it. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is
yeah.
just.
So yeah, look at that. All those fake roaming events.
Mesh, talking to each other.
Yeah. Just the thing. Right. The thing I wanted to point out really quick is when we take a client. Oh, can you go back to a client? Just any client. I don't even care which one.
We can take. We take this one. Good.
So follow that.
It's my phone. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So one thing that we're doing right now is, we take your primary adapter and we just stick it to a channel. And with the next release of Tonic, we're going to enable client following. We actually thought we had it in there already, but there was a missing piece and we didn't test it quite thoroughly enough. But right now it just sticks to channel 132. But the idea is that with the secondary and tertiary adapters, we can keep an eye out for that client on a different channel. And if we see it on a different channel talking to an AP, I think Peter said, basically, we talked to him about this back when we were developing, and he was like, hey, as long as it's not a probe request, you can pretty much assume, I don't know if it's exactly what he said, but he basically said you can assume that it's associated to that AP. So with Tonic 1.2, this channel number will update. So we'll just follow the client around. Now, we're never going to catch the roam. We're probably not going to catch it. We might, but it's very unlikely. But we're thinking that in the future, we can probably do some prediction to try to figure out where do we put the secondary and tertiary adapter to try to predict where the client is going to roam if we're trying to troubleshoot roaming stuff. So sorry, that was all I wanted to say.
Yeah, because that's really good to have, at least when I do a lot of different troubleshooting, and often you always like to see the roaming event, right? But still, using this, I think I sent Joel a lot of pictures. Every time I go somewhere, I just put up this PC and start everything and just walk around to see what I can catch. And I also have a network here for like It Depends network, just for fun. And but we can also look at what happened, for example, with that identity PSK. So I have this for my kids, so they can easier to remember for them. So I give them a funny password, and see if what happens if I type a wrong password. Because I have like a list of a few passwords that I want them to their friends and such to use, and they complain if it doesn't work. The weird thing now that there, let's see how many times do the iPhone try before it gives up.
Over and over and over again. And it looks like we're only seeing handshakes 1 and 2. We're not seeing 3 and 4. Is that expected?
1 and 2, yes, 1 and 2.
Yeah.
So it's very easy to see it was a wrong PSK, of course.
Yeah. Jim says we need to license the Wi-Fi Kraken from Mike Spicer so we can capture on like 30 channels at once.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
Yeah.
So I use it for that, but mostly like to get to see what is to receive all the information that I need, right? To have the event view is really helpful. And also, to be honest, it's just nice to look at. So I just have it open, just see what happens. Usually when it's an event outside, I capture like Volvos and a lot of cars, and like to have a list of all of those. And I also, the cool thing with this tool, also with the channels, I don't know if the sorting is working here now. So I created this network, it depends on channel 3, just to be not a nice person to my other neighbors. And it's cool to see, if I turn it on, the spectrum utilization usually goes down, but it's just cool to see. So I can log in and just put the power on the highest amount of power. Why not?
So are you saying that you see spectrum utilization go up when you crank up the power on the AP?
With I heard the channel 3, yes, I believe I saw that last time. I can check now. I can just crank up the power now to see. So I'm a very nice neighbor. Let's say, so we take the, you don't see what I'm doing now, I'm just saying it out loud. So
that's okay. And while you're doing that, I want to ask in the chat too, are you a nice Wi-Fi neighbor or not? I would love to hear what everybody says. I have a feeling it's going to be a ton of no's, but as Wi-Fi engineers, Jeff says no.
I'm not.
You're not?
Yeah.
Dan, Jason, good Wi-Fi neighbors or not?
Great Wi-Fi neighbor.
Great Wi-Fi neighbor.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know,
So
one
nice.
of my biggest one of my biggest faux pas is I always end up generating like just a boatload of SSIDs. And so I forget about them. So I look and I'm like, oh, I have 3 APs that are running on, a couple different channels, and each one has like 8 or 9 SSIDs, and it's
right.
It just crushes everything.
Right.
I'm definitely a depends on the day of the week. The nice thing is I live in a brick home, so I don't, I'm not a terrible Wi-Fi neighbor.
Right. How's it look? Did it go up? I wasn't paying attention.
No, it didn't happen because we can't sort it suddenly. So
oh, you can't? Did I break that?
Yeah, maybe.
Oh no, I broke it so you can't sort by highest utilization anymore?
No.
Okay, we'll fix that. That's literally one line of code for us to fix that. So we will fix it. So
I did remember the password here, but it's fun when I managed to connect to it, but I can't do that now for some weird reason.
Yeah,
because it depends network. But it's cool to have like the DBX here also to see what happened. They have the airtime usage and the spectrum utilization. So you have those 2 bars. So we see how does it calculate this, Joe?
Oh yeah, how do we calculate it? So, so what we're doing to calculate spectrum utilization is we look at, I'm going to get the annotation tool here. We're looking at, let's pick channel 3, since you've got something here on channel 3. We're looking at that entire channel width, and we're looking to see whether we detect energy on that channel or not. Basically, it's an average of how often did we hear energy across that channel. Although one thing that we are doing is we're also waiting to see if that energy crosses a threshold. So I think right now it's negative 85 dBm is the threshold that we're using. So if we see energy cross that threshold, then we say, yep, we saw something. If it doesn't cross the threshold, then we say we didn't see anything. And if you don't mind, I'd like to take a second actually to run a poll really fast. Where do you think that spectrum utilization threshold should be? So I just launched a poll. So maybe if everybody can give me your answers on that. You should see a poll there. Awesome. Somebody said neg 85. Really curious to see what we end up with here. Dan, Jim, Jason, any thoughts on that? Where would you put that number for, like, where's the cutoff line for you that you would ignore things below that and would not factor it into the spectrum utilization calculation?
It depends.
Yes.
Thanks, Sam.
I would probably say neg 85 simply because that is traditionally our don't want boundary with our don't care boundary.
Gotcha. Okay.
So
anything above,
I would at least like to see physical energy up to that point.
Okay.
Same.
So
same
basically right now we're throwing away everything below negative 85. Like we don't pay any attention to everything below neg 85. Is that correct?
So, I mean, you're basically at the noise floor and that threshold somewhere between 85 and 90. And is it valuable data? Probably not.
Okay, cool.
I have been
Awesome.
in places where when I'm looking at something, I want to see, I don't want to see anything below -75, especially in a high dense environment like a conference center or something like that, where I'd like to be able to bump that up a little bit, because I'm like, there's so many different APs and signals going on. But yeah, if we had to pick one, I'd pick 85.
What about a variable setting? Possible?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably possible. I don't see why not. I don't know, we'll have to think about that a little bit. And I mean, we could stick that in a settings pane or something like that somewhere. So yeah, Craig says just make it variable. Yeah, we'll have to noodle on that one a little bit, but that might be possible. So cool. Well, thanks for participating in the poll, everybody. That's really helpful for us to I think I've got a couple other polls that we'll throw up here as they come up in conversation.
Yeah,
so
I'm gonna show like a little neat thing, also just a random thing. Move this, like, let's say if I do this, right, the AP names, like, and it's just funny to see how quick how quick it takes before it updates the name, and I turn on advertise AP. There you have it.
And that's one of those things that I can't believe it works. We didn't build it to do that, but it totally does. Can you click on one of those radios really quick? Just drill down into it.
Yep.
So one thing that nice. So we got all the rando the rando MAC addresses showing up. So one thing that we did is the access point name is actually editable here. So it starts out with just a MAC address, but you can click on this little pencil to change it if you want, or we just pull it out of the, what's the IE that's in there. There's an IE in the beacon that we look at, and we will populate it for you, basically. So yeah, a couple of editable fields in there, which is nice.
Yeah, but it's cool that it just found it, because I was troubleshooting why don't I see the AP names, and I just forgot that I haven't turned on turn it on, and then it just popped up. It was just cool to look at.
Nice.
And about the other things that I don't think I want to open like the huge PCAP that I did at a customer on a webinar. I don't know, because that's a really funny one, but I'm not sure if I should open it. It's just too much. But I think I can try, and this is my other network here. If this works, maybe. Let's see. I'm just going to go to, if you just find something to talk about in the meantime, I'm just going to remotely turn on something.
Okay, cool. How much time do you need?
If it works.
Okay.
Not long. Let's see.
A couple, there've been a few questions that have been coming through, some really, really good questions, and Casey's been pretty much answering. He's been basically answering everything. Anders, I want to just go head to head on this one. You asked about a new DBX that supports the 6 gigahertz band. I don't have any announcements to make today. I can neither confirm nor deny future announcements about that. So just hang in there. We'll get there. Also, there's probably obvious questions about 802.11ax support. So right now, our packet capture adapters, they're just off-the-shelf adapters. By the way, if you want to try out Tonic and you have a couple of old Ekahau SA1s kicking around, those will work. They work in Tonic. So go look at the supported adapters list. It'll run for 14 days on trial. So go check it out, and you can probably run it with those. But right now, we don't have anything that supports 802.11ax yet, but it is something that we're looking at, we're thinking about. WLAN Pi support is something that we're very interested in. Like, we could probably do captures directly from the WLAN Pi Pro, and that could get us 802.11ax. And 6 gigahertz is also something that we are, we're thinking about from a packet capture perspective. If we can get 6 gigahertz packets, then, it's obvious that we will get that supported at some point. So how's it going over there? Oh, things are looking interesting.
Yes, So on this one is very cool. Then you capture all the data rates all the time, right? So usually if I do this, this, and this, and then we share it, of course. See, and there.
Streaming a video or something like that.
Yeah, usually when I put on a HDR, a Dolby Vision, and there's nothing more left on my little Meraki AP. It just can't handle it. It's just too much for the amount of airtime I have left. and it just eats up everything.
Nice.
Usually when it works then, but then probably now, since think I'm on the same channel, we just break a little bit. But usually when I have this, my kids play Roblox, right? And it's very unstable. And I put on Disney Plus with HDR Double Vision. I get peaks around 80 megabits on the wireless, and they are on Roblox. And since I have a big lab of wireless here, my wireless is really bad because I have 12 APs sometimes on at the same time at the maximum. Just, I don't know why, I just do it. And then the wireless is really bad, but when you turn on the shield, it just goes completely bananas. And then it's cool then to look at it, how much it eats up the traffic, looking at this live thing.
Do you find yourself looking at the airtime charts? Are you using the airtime charts to see like where, what types of frames are consuming the majority of the airtime? Or are you mostly just looking at the packet counts?
Yeah, so sometimes it usually comes with interfere data, so you don't get everything. But I do look at like which client are eating up the most of the traffic. Yeah. But no, there wasn't that much from this one, right? So this was the TV, I think. It didn't map that it was there. So there you have the.
Let's see, one thing that I'm just looking through the chat here.
It's not live this one anymore.
Oh, what was that? I missed that. What happened?
Yeah, I'm just looking at it. When you look at this one, it's using a lot of traffic, but this one.
The chart froze.
Yeah.
Oh, the chart froze. Either that or the QoS data frames and the block acknowledgements and RTS, CTS are coming in at perfect. Oh no, now it's moving again. It just moved a little bit. So maybe it didn't freeze. It was just coming in absolutely perfect. Hey, if Bruce has a question here, will Tonic replay a loaded PCAP? Is that something you can demo? Do you have a PCAP you can play back? I'm totally putting you on the spot. We didn't plan for that at all.
Yeah. Let's see.
I can do it too if you want.
No. I have. Then I probably just need to open up a new one.
Oh, I've totally thrown you off your groove now. Sorry.
No. I had a file ready, but this is my home also, right? But this is what happens when you
play back a PCAP.
Yeah.
So notice we don't have Spectrum in here yet. We're interested in putting Spectrum in. And we're also doing this. We're also just bringing in the PCAP file as quickly as possible. And there's a progress bar on the bottom. Ryan and I call this ludicrous mode. So we just read the packets in as quickly as we possibly can. And then once it's done, you can click around anywhere while it's playing it back, but I usually just let it load everything up, and then you can kind of click around and look and see what happens. So
because this one we use IPA on this one to capture a full roam, and then played it back in IPA. Yeah.
Now, do you ever open files in Tonic, or do you usually just do that in IPA or in Wireshark?
Because I've been beta testing this for so long, every single PCAP I have, I just open up to see what happens.
Yeah. You want to see if it breaks it or not?
Yeah. Not only that, I want to see if it finds the event that I can find in Wireshark. For example, does your tool find it? And if it doesn't, I just write to you on Slack and just fix it.
Tell me that it's broken. Fix it. Vic has a question here that I'm interested in chasing down. Vic says, are the events limited to the 10-minute window on capture playback? So I'm going to tell you how it works, Vic. And then I kind of want to get everybody's opinions on like whether this is okay or not, how we're handling this. So I'm kind of looking for feedback a little bit here. So Ryan and we basically decided, let's just do a 10-minute rolling buffer. So notice that it just says 10 minutes along the bottom there. You can see there's now all the way over on the left, and it says 10 minutes over all the way on the right. We just keep 10 minutes in basically in RAM at all times. And when a packet is older than 10 minutes, we just drop it out. It just goes away. Is that okay? Can you do most of what you need to do within a 10-minute time frame? And if not, what kind of time frame do you wish you had in a tool like this? I'm interested in hearing some hearing back on that. So Vic, maybe you can let me know. Dan, Jim, do you guys have any thoughts? Like, what do you guys think of that 10-minute rolling
Took
buffer?
them the example as now these are gone forever.
Right. Michael says, I think 10 minutes is good since we can save the PCAPs on the fly. True. Yep, you can absolutely save them on the fly. Dan and Jim, what do you guys think?
I think the 10 minutes is okay for this platforming, but yeah, I mean, if we unmuted Peter, he'd probably tell you stories about where he had to follow somebody around for hours trying to capture something. You know, and so I think it's just a question of using the tool the way it was designed and realizing that the tool isn't designed for every single scenario that you could possibly, you know, encounter. So I'm fine with the 10 minutes in Tonic. But just knowing that, yeah, if I'm doing a Peter McKenzie roaming capture experiment thing, that Tonic, no offense, Tonic might not be the best tool for
that might not be the best. Yeah.
For following somebody around a warehouse for 4 hours.
Right. Dan, what do you think? I think you've spent some time using Tonic, and have you run into any issues with the 10 minute?
Tonic a lot. Yeah.
Oh, really?
No, I find the 10 minutes is perfect for the type of stuff that I'm doing, right? Where if there's something that I know I'm trying to capture, you know, like was just said, then I can just pop those 10-minute files out kind of as I'm going, which actually I prefer, because then it means I can filter out stuff anyway. You know, if I didn't see something that I was looking for, I just don't use it and I just restart again or whatever, or I just keep going, and then it's within that last 10 minutes that I've got. So yeah, 10 minutes for me works great.
Okay. We might think about like there's a suggestion for, you know, just automatically saving a PCAP every 10 minutes. We can totally do that. There's nothing keeping us from doing that. So okay, we'll have to think about that a little bit more. We just totally picked 10 minutes. Oh,
yeah,
go ahead.
For my sake also, I also think it's great just to have the 10 minutes. It's enough for me to just capture what I want. And also the same with Jim talked, if I want to follow a client around, like I've been sitting on a truck in 20 kilometers an hour, like with a PC, and then I need the Uni 1, I need to capture all the 4 adapters all the time, like traveling around for 30 minutes. And then, that's a different use case, right? For that kind of troubleshooting.
Gotcha. Okay.
And also here, this is VPA 3.
Is it WPA 3? And we're not parsing that correctly. So, hey, Ryan, we got to add that one to the list too.
Also, when you see I'm Swedish, I'm not Swedish. It's just sometimes you just want 6 gigahertz to work. Then you need to live in Sweden.
So every now and then you just move to Sweden really quick.
Yeah. So I'm in
Sweden,
for like
10 minutes
in Sweden right now. Yeah.
yeah. Live from Sweden. Awesome.
But this is also a Passpoint SSID. So this is interesting, right? But this says VPA2 Enterprise. The iPhone says it's an open network, and also the PC sometimes says it's an open network. Also with I think this is VPA3 also. Yeah, there personal it works. That's good.
Oh, interesting. So it's just WPA3 Enterprise. It does not work.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen it working Enterprise, and I just found out that now. I didn't take it. Yeah.
Real quick, can you show Peter where the Peter and Jim are going on about something stupid in the chat, like, I don't know, saving PCAP files? It sounds like a terrible feature idea, but can you show them the folder where we save all the PCAPs whenever you export something or
yeah, where's that folder again? Oh yeah, of course you did that for me. So there,
just for you.
Yeah, but now now I'm on a different user, right? Because this is a safe user for the webinars. So
do you want me to?
No, it's not so many files here. That was just boring. It's not many files here. So if I
go save another event really quick, and we should get more populated in there.
Just go here, and then we take this. Okay, we need a new one.
One that hasn't rolled off the time span. So what we're doing is whenever you send something to Wireshark or IPA or OmniPeak, whether it's just an event or the entire packet capture, we actually put that PCAP goes in a folder called Tonic temporary PCAPs, which is that little folder that you just showed a moment ago. So basically, whenever you export anything, it just gets stuck in a file. We never clear out the folder. We don't touch the folder after that. We just keep everything there. So that one's interesting. Just a bunch of
Send
RTS,
something to
CTS back and
Wireshark.
forth. Yeah. So then if you want to open up that folder again really quick.
There we have it.
There it is. Yep. So there's everything. Just with we just have basically there's a MAC address if it's a client, and what the format is. It's the event type, the MAC address, and a timestamp. We just stick all three of them there. So hopefully if you need to go back, if you accidentally throw something away, you can always go back in there and find those. And we just leave it up to you. You can
and also
clear out the folder
a
whenever
cool
you
thing
want.
that you added in these, you added this. So you see which interface that is being used.
Yeah. I don't know. We could probably bring Ryan in to talk about that if he's still here. I haven't seen him in the chat for a little while, but yeah, Ryan actually added this a couple weeks ago. So one thing that we wanted to do is when you play back a recording, we wanted to be able to tell you what your adapters were doing while you were creating the recording. So Ryan created this to keep track of what adapters we have and what channels they were on while they were capturing. And yes, it is just one line of code. It was just one line of code for him to do that. So it's super duper easy. I think it took him like 5 minutes, but no, he took a few days to get that implemented. So
do you have it? So that's cool. So I think my other user on my laptop also, I think I have well over 100 different events. So it's cool to have them, and it's time stamped. So that it can do, and also just to look at whatever everybody else nearby are using. So I also played this Tonic. I had it on the bus once. And just had it on just to see how many SSIDs. So the list gets very long. So I was trying to break it to see how many SSIDs I could get. I don't have that PCAP here, but it works great.
You did okay. Nice.
Yeah, sitting on the bus with a couple of adapters, just like the typical war driving, but just here to see what Tonic can be used for. See if I catch some cool events or something. Right?
Nice.
It's not so much events that I have at home.
Now, how about the client's view? Do you use the client's view at all?
Yes, there.
So this is just a list of all the clients that we heard. So there's the LAN tab, the associated tab, and the unassociated tab. I spend the most time on the associated tab because I'm curious to see like who is associated to a network. And I also use this to like get to a client very, very quickly. Like if I want to look at a specific client, I will alias it, and then I can always get back to it really, really fast. So that's typically what I'm doing with it.
Right.
Yep, totally. Now, how about the LAN scanner? Do you ever use the LAN scanner?
Does it work now?
It does work.
Okay.
If you're on a /24, it works. So,
boom. Oh, should I?
Yeah, you can try it if you want. And so Ryan built this in, and it's a really interesting idea in that now if you go click, can you just go look at one of like your NVIDIA, is it like, or maybe your iPad or something like that?
There.
And you have to, perfect. So notice that now we actually populate the IP address in there. And if we get a host name for it, we'll actually put the host name in as the name of the device. So it's, I don't know. This is one of those features that it's in there. I don't know if people are really using it. Like Carson's on a /64. So I don't know. Like we need to beef this up and get it working on more, in more subnets and things like that. But it's something that's interesting. And if you have feedback on it, definitely let me know. Interested to hear if you use it, what you think about it.
Also, now I'm using the iPad to share this screen, right? And it's not much data. So I'm a little bit impressed about that one. So yeah.
Is it going through a cable or through Wi-Fi?
Let's see now if I can check. Yeah, now I use the cable. Ooh, yeah. If I take it out, I don't want to do it right now.
Right. Yeah. I almost guarantee. Do you notice the inferred data frames there? See how it says inferred data in the pie chart? So I think this is a good thing to stop and explain really quick. So what we're doing with the inferred data frames is that means we did not actually capture data frame. We saw RTS, CTS acknowledgement. We saw enough information there to go, there was probably a frame there. We didn't capture it, but we think that there was one there. So, take them with a grain of salt, but But that's just a way to help us, try to get a little bit closer to truth on airtime, even if we can't demodulate all the frames that are flying by. Cool. Anything else? Anything else to go through before we move towards wrapping things up? Anything else you want to show?
No, not for me now. So the most thing that I use it for is capture the events from all the weird clients. So I used it a lot for Zebra devices, Zebra printers, the old PDAs, the Windows 7 computers that I have in warehouses, just to want to see if I capture everything and follow the clients around. And then it's a really neat tool to use.
Well, thank you for beta testing it for us. Kjetil's been he's been beta testing this way before it was even called Tonic. It was super duper ugly and horrible looking, and Dan was too. I think Dan, you were beta testing this for a long time.
I think I have a file that's called mono 0.8 or something, XE file somewhere.
Yep. At first we were calling it monolith because there was that weird monolith that showed up down in Utah in the desert. Nobody knew where it came from, and also monolithic code bases are bad. And also it's like bringing in some of the best ideas from IPA and Channelizer. So monolith is what we called it. We couldn't name it that. That name was not available, but we settled on Tonic. So, but yeah, thank you for all the beta testing for this and all the feedback you've given us. Dan, do you have any thoughts or comments or anything before we kind of move towards closing things out and ending the webinar?
Yeah, I think the main way that I've been using this software is much more trying to explain like wireless concepts to clients. And because you've got so many, you've got the graphs, you've got the spectrum view, you've got all those things. It's a really, really nice tool to be able to show clients what's happening, and they can visualize what's happening. So when you pull up a client and there's loads and loads of control frames, it's kind of like, hey, this is what's happening. Not a lot of data is getting through. And then again, being able to show that difference between the layer 1 and the layer 2 utilization again has been a really, really great thing to be able to just open up and show a client, this is why you're having problems.
So you're using this as an explainer tool
massively
for non-technical people, or less technical people,
non-wireless people. Absolutely.
I used it to explain my 9-year-old about Wi-Fi a couple of times. So we've been looking at it just to explain like the paragraphs, why things are slow. So I'm trying to learn him a bit, but I used it for him also.
Nice. What are some of the visualizations and things that you guys are using when you're showing somebody that is not as skilled on Wi-Fi and you're explaining something? What are the main things that you're going to show them things and explain things to them?
So the client view like this is one of the main things. And again, doing things like capturing the security handshakes, the association, that kind of stuff. But yeah, a lot of the time just kind of showing them the difference between, trying to explain that with wireless, there's a lot of overhead. This is a great tool for being able to show that.
Yeah. Okay, cool. All right, awesome. Well, I think we should probably move towards ending the webinar since we've got about 4 minutes left. So if you don't mind, I am going to take back over the screen share really quick. Oh, I'm almost ready.
Joel, you didn't ask me.
I was almost ready. Now I'm not.
You didn't ask me.
Jim, you don't have a Windows machine though?
I don't have a Windows machine.
So you're not even using it. So what could you possibly have to say? No, go ahead.
Every time I see this, I'm like, now I got to go buy a Windows machine. But carrying two different machines seems over. So when am I going to get it on a Mac? Because I know we have some Mac users on here.
Yeah.
When am I going to get it on a Mac?
You can get it on a Mac.
So I just put up a poll.
Put all the USB
you guys want to see?
Pops up.
You guys want to see my little secret for how I'm running Tonic on my Mac? Is I'm just running it inside. Well, I'm looking at it through remote desktop on my Windows machine, so I don't have to physically touch my Windows machine. So yeah, Mac is definitely at the forefront of what we want to do. We really, really want to bring this to Mac OS as soon as possible. There are a few challenges to get there, but they're not insurmountable. Like, we think we can do it. And also a lot of the underlying code, the stuff that's doing all the packet calculations and things like that, that's actually pretty cross-platform, that we can get over there right away. It mostly comes down to the user interface is one of the hard ones, like the graphs, like the multi-layer pie charts and stuff. This graph is not yet available. We would have to build that one from scratch to implement it on macOS. There's a few things like that. Also, the capture hardware. Isn't it hilarious that it used to be that capture on macOS was like the easy and reliable, all reliable, like it always works. And now it's not quite as solid as it used to be. And additionally, with Tonic, we can support technically up to 6 adapters. We're just doing 3 right now, but on macOS, we would be limited to 1 adapter. So that's when we're thinking like, okay, do we need to bring the WLAN Pi in? Like, how do we enable really, really good packet capture over on macOS? Now, and here's the thing that I'm really excited about is if we can get some kind of, non-machine based capture device going, like the WLAN Pi, that enables like an iPad or something like that. So there's a lot of possibilities for, oh, and there goes my remote desktop. There's a lot of possibilities for what we can do there. So really, really exciting stuff. We're really, really interested in that. So yep, looking at the
Jim,
poll,
if
looks
you
like
can carry, you don't want to carry 2 machines, but you can carry a Sidekick and a Mac and a VLAN P Pro, a pair of socks. So then you can just tape a Windows computer on top of your Mac.
There you go.
Yeah,
just do that.
solution.
Easy.
Duct tape.
Hey, looks like somebody let Ryan in, which, makes sense because like he built most of this stuff. But Ryan, do you have any comments or anything on the Mac OS stuff before we move on?
Sure. We've been waiting for Microsoft to release .NET MAUI, which is multiple platform UI, which should theoretically enable iOS, Chrome, everything. And so I'm researching that to kind of see where it's at, and it's not quite ready yet. But if that becomes ready, then we should be able to do cross-platform easier. And we've been building Tonic prep for that. So I'm kind of crossing my fingers that the Microsoft stuff works. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
It's definitely front of mind for us. So,
Yes.
Oh, and also we had 4 people reply that they're using OS2 Warp in the poll. So we got to think about that as well. So if we can get OS2 Warp supported, I think that would be good.
We
Cool.
actually had a lot of
Well,
people in the chat saying pre-warp.
Pre-warp.
So,
They don't actually want
yeah.
warp. Okay. Good to know.
Yeah.
Good to know. So awesome. All right, cool. So before we close things out today, we want to give you something for free. So I actually approached our Aavik overlords and I asked them, I was like, guys, we have something we would love to give away. And they allowed us to give this to you for free. So no, I'm kidding. We've been giving this away for a long time. We have a profile for Wireshark where you can get all the packet colors from Tonic and bring them into Wireshark, which is really nice, especially if you're using Tonic and Wireshark together, or if you're just using Wireshark on its own. I have a hard time using Wireshark without these color schemes at this point. So go grab it. It's at metageek.link/Wireshark profile. So I'll give you a second to type that down. And I think with that, I think we're right at 10 a.m. So I think we can probably say end of webinar complete. Although I'm definitely down to hang out and answer some questions for a few minutes. If anybody has unanswered questions, I'm happy to stay and chat for a little bit longer. So yeah, thanks for being here, everybody. Really appreciate it. And Kjetil, thank you so much for this presentation and showing us how you're using Tonic. And thank you for all your beta testing. And of course, Jim and Dan and Jason, and thanks guys for being here and giving color commentary and all that. And of course, thank you to Casey for covering all the questions and things in the backlog. Really appreciate it. And I'm looking forward to seeing you on a future MetaGeek webinar. And that's a wrap, but I'm not going to leave because I want to see if there's any questions or anything to wrap up before we really, truly do leave. So just looking through the chat here. Jim, everybody, I don't know if anybody's looking at the chat and kind of seeing what's going on in here. I haven't been looking for the past 5 minutes or so.
There was something that came up that I thought was interesting.
Yeah.
And it was showing the data rate, like almost like a count of data rates. Like,
okay,
how much of your data rates are 6 megabits per second? How much is,
Yeah, that's actually, so we've actually done this over in IPA. I'm going to use a little send. There we go. So it's sending it to IPA. So we actually do this in IPA. No, I don't want to keep that PCAP around. So here IPA is opening up the PCAP file now. Let's make it full screen and restore the illusion that I'm on a Windows machine. So in IPA, I'm going to go look at a specific channel because I don't think it makes a whole lot of sense to look at every single channel. So I like to just filter down to one channel. So see how we get everything that Tonic captured. So you could see that on channel 157, 73% of our data rates were 24 megabits per second, right? So I don't, who asked that question? I think I saw it, but I didn't store who asked it.
I don't think it was a question. I think it was in the chat. So I'm trying to scroll back and see.
Yeah, in there somewhere. But anyway, yeah, I'd be really curious to know if that answers it for you. Of course, by the time you bring it over into IPA, it's no longer live. But I think that could be really interesting that, you know, if you wanted to get that piece of information, you just get it over there. Oh, Dan's got to run. Bye, Dan. Thanks for being here.
Bye, Dan.
See you next time.
Bye, Dan.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.
Thanks, man. So we have done this. So I hope that maybe fills that use case. And that's part of why I like to have Tonic and IPA kind of side by side, because you can kind of leverage them both without having every single feature all clogging up one application. So, it was Bruce. Yes. Awesome. Yeah, Bruce. I hope that that takes care of it for you. But yeah, what else we got? What else? Anything else?
I like the idea of doing a toggle to where for the 10-minute thing, to where, like, you know, it takes the 10 minutes and then just automatically dumps it to the file.
Yeah.
Or a longer thing. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting. And we've already got like the packet write stuff in here. So see, here's all of my events, and then everything that's just got a date stamp on it, or timestamp. I guess it's time and date stamp. These are all full, you know, those are all probably 10-minute time spans, right? So I think we could do it. I don't think it would be that hard, but I'm also really interested in what would happen if we made this a longer time span. What if you could scroll back in time? You know, what if you could look at arbitrary time spans? Those are some of the things that we're kind of thinking about. So,
well, but I mean, because you have your live 10 minutes,
right?
And then it's the idea of that's cool doing the 10 minutes, but what if I need to follow somebody around for an hour? You know,
yeah.
So you'd almost need to have a second buffer, you know, that's like, hey, as soon as that 10 minutes fills up, it then saves it,
right?
You know, and dumps it. And then, so it's almost like a 20-minute buffer, you know, the live one that you'd scroll back and forth. The second 10 minutes, which would be from 11 to 20 minutes, would be this other one where it's just basically writing it to a file. And then when that 10-minute fills up, it just saves it and starts over again. But I think
it goes to RAM and then dumps it to a file once every 10 minutes.
But I mean, it would take more resources from the computer. So you might run, if you don't have enough RAM, it could run slower.
I think we'd be okay. I think from a resource perspective, we'd be all right. So, Kjetil, what do you think? Would you like to have like an auto save 10-minute buffer option or something like that?
Yeah, and regarding to the follow the client, right? Then we need to implement that you want in 1.2 to actually follow the client. So if you get that like working, and then we just need to have the option, for example, just to let us keep recording more. If we want to go to a specific client, I want to just follow this specific client. I want to see live what happens in the graph and everything. I want to capture all the roams, and if it's able to find a way so you manage to follow the roams, then yeah.
Okay.
And then also if you manage to have that amount of big file, I need to be able to scroll back. When you see it loads, right? You see like it loads the file. So it plays it, then you can reverse it, right? Then you can move around down there. Because I remember trying to drag that little green line because I just felt it seemed like a good place for me to scroll back and forth.
Yes. Yeah. And that is something that I would love to have, just like in Channelizer, right? Where you can have the two navigation playheads and you can put them where you want them. I would love to be able to do that in Tonic. And I think that's
in IPA,
possible.
you can do that. You can focus if there's a lot of retries for a specific time, you can just do this, right?
Yep, totally. So yeah, that's something Ryan and I have talked about quite a bit and something I'm interested in adding to it.
So you can do that in IPA and you can send it back to IPA again. Then you have it.
Right. There you go. Let's see. Bruce has a question. Will the LAN scanning resolve wireless clients? Bruce, I think the answer to that is yes. And it looks like you're still here. So thanks for hanging out. So if we go to the LAN, I got to turn it on really quick. So we'll turn it on. It's not on by default. And by the way, the styling for this table, we have it fixed in the next version. So it'll look a lot better the next version. But yeah, for example, my Chromecast, we see it's 192.168.1.54. And so we can drill down into it. So that takes us, down the tree, down to where the Chromecast is. And if we look, yeah, so it found, there it is at 1.54. So yeah, it will resolve wireless clients. At least I hope that's your question. I think I think that might answer it. So we'll see.
This could be very handy.
You think so? You like that?
Yeah, if you could get it above the /24s.
Yeah.
I don't think you need to go to a 16 or anything, but no, that's actually really handy.
Okay, cool. Something we might need to work on then. So yeah, we'll maybe we need to put some more work into that and beef up the LAN scanner. And that's something, by the way, Ryan did that, like, I think it was like a weekend project for him. I think he was like, let's do a LAN scanner in there. That'd be kind of cool. So yeah, a lot of features in Tonic have come about like that. So cool. Okay, Bruce also asked, will Tonic replay a loaded PCAP? It will. It's not super, it's pretty basic right now. So Ryan and I call this ludicrous mode, in that we just read in the PCAP as fast as possible. So you get a little progress bar down here on the bottom. We just parse all the packets as quickly as we possibly can. You can try to navigate around in here while it's reading in the PCAP. So, we can go find, like, oh, there's my wife's MacBook Air right here. And so, we're still, every now and then you'll see this move as we happen to be on the same channel as her MacBook Air. So there was, we saw something go by right there. But it's not, my opinion is that's not Tonic's strong point, is to go back and look at previous recordings. I think we can make it better. I prefer to use IPA for that, but that's just what I like to do. So
yeah, also good to mention that if you have a file that is 2 hours long and you play it, it will just take the last 10 minutes of that file, right?
Yes. So basically it starts from the beginning of the file and reads all the way through it. And that former 10 minutes will eventually it'll drop off, right? It'll drop out of it. And so we're only kind of parsing like the last 10 minutes of the PCAP by the time it's done reading it all in.
Yeah.
So you can see how there's some limitations. There's some things about it that are limited in that way. Cool. Okay. I'm just looking through to see if there's any other questions to mop up, but I think we've pretty much got everything answered at this point. So yeah, I think we can for real end the webinar this time. So we had the fake end and now we have the real end. So everybody, thank you so much. Oh wait, Peter says there are a lot of suggestions in the chat. I hope I didn't miss anything big. Just looking through really quick. Oh, Anders. Yeah, there's some stuff going on in the chat. Anders was asking about a signal to noise ratio. I'm really, really interested in adding that. In fact, if you drill down to a client, here's my phone, we drill down to a client, notice that one of the graphs that we don't have added yet is the signal to noise ratio. So it's grayed out because I want to implement that. We just haven't implemented it yet. So keep an eye out for these graphs, these time series graphs. As with every release, I'm hoping to enable a couple of these per release as we just continue to add things in there. Oh, he said signal to noise ratio. I can't do anything for you there. Sorry, I cannot show you the signal to noise ratio. So, but signal to noise ratio is nice too. Oh, Anders, don't ever change, man. All right, everybody. I think we can probably end it there. So yeah, once again, Jim, thank you so much for being here. And Kjetil, thank you for presenting, and Jason, thanks for nothing. I don't even know what happened to you. You were just there. Oh, he is there.
I'm here still. I'm still listening. I was being considerate because anytime I get onto a webinar, there's always a weed whacker in the background.
Nice. Any comments before we close it out?
No, I'm excited to see what you guys are doing. It looks great.
Awesome. Well, thanks for being here. We really appreciate it. Thanks to everybody for hanging out. Had a great time with you this morning, and looking forward to seeing you on another MetaGeek webinar really, really soon.